A-Level Biology 9700, Paper 4, Variant 2, May June 2025. And in this video, we are going to discuss question number 7. And question number 7 is an axon membrane is described as being at its resting potential with an action when an action potential is not occurring. So describe and explain how a resulting potential of an axon membrane is maintained. So, that the maintaining a resting potential is an active process that ensures the inside of the axon remains negatively charged relative to the outside. That is, it should be minus 70. So it should be minus 70. And minus 70, resting potential is minus 70. So this polarized state is achieved through a combination of two, that is the active transport and differential membrane permeability. That is, number one is active transport and the second one is the differential membrane differential membrane permeability. Let's discuss both of these. So, to going in detail, I would like to start with, that is, what are both of these processes? That is, first of all, to maintain this minus 70 millivolts, which is a polarized state. So the active transport, the first process which is regulated to maintain this is the sodium potassium sodium potassium pump maintains maintains the resting potential it uses ATP to actively transport three sodium ions out of the axon for every two potassium ions. It brings A. This creates a concentration concentration gradient high sodium ions outside and low potassium ion inside. Because more imbalance is produced. So, and when imbalance, electrochemical imbalance causes more positive charges charging and leaving their entry are leaving. That is, three sodium ions are going out, moving out, and two potassium ions are entering. So more positive charge are leaving than entering. So, the membrane is much more uh, is permeable to potassium ions than to sodium ions because there are more open sodium and leak channels. So the membrane, the second part starts that the permeability of the membrane. The membrane contains specific protein channels that allow ions to leak back across the membrane down their concentration gradient. Down their concentration gradient. So the membrane is much more permeable to potassium ions than to sodium ions. The is more permeable for potassium ions than sodium ions. Consequently, sodium ions diffuses out of the axon faster than sodium can diffuse back in. So the more potassium ions will go out as comparison to sodium ions. The membrane is impermeable impermeable to sodium ions during the resting state. During the resting state, preventing it from rushing back. Rushing back. Rushing back in. So what happens now inside the axon? Inside the axon, there are large negatively charged molecules then are too big to leave through the membrane. Too big to leave through the membrane. It contributes to the permanent significantly permanent negative charge of the cytoplasm. So it was all about this question, part A. Now moving towards the next part B. So you can see in next part B, hypokalemia is a condition in which there is a low concentration of potassium ions in the body. This can affect nervous coordination. So figure 7.1 shows a normal action potential and figure 7.2 shows an action potential of a person with hypokalemia. So here you can see the figure 7.1 in which the graph has been shown between time and membrane potential in millivolts. You can see the resting potential is minus 70. This is minus 70. Then it goes up to plus 40 and drops down to it will be 90 minus 92 and then levels off to the minus 70 again. So this is the normal action potential which takes place. Now move to the figure to 7.2 in which the graph has been shown a membrane potential and the person with scalemia. So here you can see it starts from minus 100 and goes up to plus 40 and drops down and goes to minus less than minus 100 and the level of about the minus 100. So the resting potential in this case is more negative, that is minus 100, as the normal resting potential, which is minus 70. Now the question is, with reference to the figure 7.1 and 7.2, describe the differences between a normal action potential and action potential of a person with hypokalemia. So I have told you the main differences which we can see in these figures. So I will going to write all these differences. So we will start from, so as there are several, you can see the differences in the membrane potential levels and the duration of the phases. Hypokalemia refers to low extracellular potassium ions. So this increases the concentration gradient between the inside and outside of the cell, causing more potassium to leak out and making the cell's interior more negative as it becomes to minus 100 degree, sorry, minus 100 millivolts. So normal figure 7.1, hypokalemia is 7.2. So the resting potential approximately minus 70. And in case of with hypokalemia, it is minus 100 millivolts. I have already shown. So the hyperpolarization is also the first of all, I would like to talk about the first difference, which is the resting potential. In normal, minus 70 millivolts, and in hypokalemia is minus 100 millivolt, means more negative. And second, the hyperpolarization peak is minus 92 millivolts. Hyperpolarization peak reaches approximately minus 92 millivolts, and in 7.2 is minus 112 millivolts. And depolarization starts at 1.0 millisecond, and in 7.2 occur earlier as 0.8 millisecond. So if we talk about the starting baseline is significantly more negative, and then we can say the increase, the starting point is lower than the peak remains the same. Remains the same in both. That is my plus 40 millivolts. You can see in both graphs. The overall time taken from the start of the impulse to returning to the resting returning to the resting state is longer in the graph 7.2. So these are the differences in both of these graphs. Now moving towards the last part of this question, suggest how hypokalemia affect nervous coordination. So after the comparison between these two figures, that is 7.1 and 7.2, the hypokalemia primarily affects nervous coordination by making it more difficult for neurons to fire and transmit signal effectively. So lower external potassium increases the concentration gradient, causing more potassium ions to leak out of the cell. This results in the following changes to the nervous coordination. In the resting membrane potential, first of all, we will start. The first point, or you can see, which I would like to write, that is the in hypo in hypokalemia, hypokalemia, the resting, as we have seen in the previous question, the resting membrane potential drops from -70 millivolts to -100 millivolts. Because the cell is more cell is now more negative, a much larger depolarization is needed to reach the threshold potential. Threshold potential. Small. The other point can be the small or normal signals that would usually trigger a nerve impulse may now fail to reach the threshold. Fail to reach the threshold meaning commands are simply lost. So these are the facts now. That is what can happen. As graph shows. Which graph? That is 7.2. 7.2. The deeper hypolarization means the neuron takes longer to return to a state where it can fire again. Another point which you can write, the delay can lead to the muscle weakness or even paralysis. This delay can lead to muscle weakness, or even paralysis. So these are I have written these 4 points. You can choose any one of two. And in this way, this question is completed. Uh, Now please like, share and subscribe my channel. To watch more videos, you get to get notifications about the papers which I'm going to solve for you for your exams. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.